Welcome, everyone, to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. Tonight, we're going to talk about Steam. Steam and the kinky links. Steam has reportedly delisted a large amount of adult-only games. So, and nobody really could tell why. Took some poking and some prodding, it seems like. But the article states devs were biting their nails over a new Steam rule that prohibits, in painfully vague terms, certain kinds of content on its platform. The new rule, seemingly introduced incredibly recently and definitely introduced since the Wayback Machine's last Steam rules snapshot from April 14th of this year, forbids content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet network providers. So basically their payment processor, they said. If their payment processor doesn't allow them to take funds from certain entities, I think, a lot of the adult entertainment sites have problems with this, right? They can't use MasterCard or Visa or whatever. They can't use those guys because they don't buy into pornography or certain types of stuff like that. So there's all sexual material of some kind. So it seems like that's kind of the reason behind the delisting of a bunch of games. So it says, in other words, keep Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal happy, or sling your hook, basically. Leave and don't come back. How do you do that? Valve doesn't say, only noting that particular care should be taken with certain kinds of adult-only content. No elaboration is offered as to what kinds of adult-only content that means, leaving the not safe for work devs groping in the dark to appease payment processors. This article states they reached out to Valve for clarifications on the rules and have yet to receive any of them. It says they basically did a SteamDB kind of look up here. The new rule coincided with a sudden removal of significant number of incest-themed adult games from Steam storefront. Anyone who had any number of the interactive sex or sex adventure games on their wish list should have bought them sooner, it says. They've been suddenly and unceremoniously yoinked. This article is full of them, isn't it? I've reached out to the dev behind some of those games, too, to ask if they've had any communication from Valve, and yet to receive anything from them in this article. So it sounds like incest, don't do that. Just like in society, that's frowned upon in the video game world. MasterCard doesn't like that. It could be a PayPal for all I know, but so.
Just a quick question, Pat. How many branches do you go back for it's not technically incest? Just so there are no limitations.
If your family tree's a trunk.
They should switch to American Express.
Yeah, American Express or Discover. Discover probably takes that too, right?
They'll let you bang your sister.
So the new rubric of verboten games, but is the incest. But there's a wrinkle here too. This article is killing me. There are still some incest-themed games available for purchase on the platform, including one from the same interactive sex series that was hit so hard in the removals noted by SteamDB. Could it be they just slipped some sort of automated removal net? Or was the disappearance of so many games with the same theme just a coincidence? Without clarification from Valve, that goes beyond a couple of sentences that have been chucked into the Steamworks onboarding docs, it's tough to say. Yeah, it's really hard to say. So, I don't know if they're going to walk back the policy eventually because it just seems too, I don't know. But I guess it's really up to their payment processor. If their payment processors are like, we're not going to deal with Steam anymore because Steam allows porn or some type of sexual material that they don't consider worthy, I think Steam would just drop all of the not safe for work games, right? I don't know. The majority of the games that make them money probably aren't those. So who knows? It's hard to tell. I think we saw something not too long ago about OnlyFans. I don't ever know how that worked out. Did OnlyFans ever get their stuff revoked or removed where they can now accept credit cards and stuff like that? I don't know. So what do you guys think about the not safe from work material that's getting canned from Steam? Shane, what do you think about this wrinkle?
I just love how these credit card companies, the most vile, disgusting, corrupt scum nuggets on the face of the planet, are telling me what I can and what I cannot wank off to with their cards. That is freaking hilarious to me. We overcharged 8 million customers and received 1.6 billion extra dollars. But let go of your wiener. Okay. How freaking pathetically stupid are they? And if I was Steam, I would tell them to kick rocks.
How you make money? Nobody will take money for you.
Open up PayPal.
Well, that's what PayPal is one of their people.
Yeah. But
PayPal could be the one saying this.
Oh, man, it's true. Open up. I mean, there's shit. Let me Zelly you some link money. It's just so stupid. Now, don't get me wrong. If you own a company, let's say like Chick-fil-A, they're a religious, faith-based group of people. If you don't want people wanking it in your parking lot, it's fine. You have that right. But privacy of your own home, that's yours. You already paid for it. You don't know if you're just enjoying a great story about a brother and sister fighting off demons with their rectums. You don't know what's going on. And you shouldn't have the right to use your imagination to think nasty thoughts about what somebody else is doing in the privacy of their home.
Your Chick-fil-A metaphor went completely different direction. I thought you were going with that. Just to put it that way, I thought you were going somewhere else.
Right there, you're just like the credit card people. You're using dirty thoughts.
But I didn't stop you from having your dirty thoughts. See, that's how I'm different. I can.
No. It's stupid.
I didn't refuse to take your payment for those dirty thoughts.
Well, you maybe cleaned the $20 bill off first. But no, it's a stupid ass thing. You know, the most, and this is what kills me about people. The most disgusting people are usually the ones that are trying to keep up the false moral high ground. I cannot stand that. And the fact that, they're saying, hey, look, don't use my plastic for your plastic. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like me going over to your house, Pat, and saying, oh, look at those board games. That's got a sexy girl on it. You can't do that. You can't play that. I don't know what you're doing with it besides playing the board game. I mean, you're not looking at the image. I don't know. Some people like those adult themed games. I mean, they truly just like them. So you shouldn't be able to dictate that. I mean, unless, Captain Visa wants to come to my house and watch me play that, naughty sister Nephilim's duck, whatever. I mean, yeah, Visa guy can help me. And I like Nick's, bring out the Discover card.
You should read a lot of this article. This article is hilarious. Like, it's got so many puns in here. It's one of them. It's the quiet normalization of financial censorship, and it's going to hurt the communities and devs. Banks like Visa and MasterCard are now backdoor moral authorities. Like, this article is full of just great puns. I'm dying reading it. When I read it the first time, I missed some of these, and now that I'm reading it out loud, I'm like, oh my God, this is great. It's just, yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's a stupid thing. These morally superior shit stains. It's freaking ridiculous. And who's going to be the first one to get busted doing something disgusting?
Their CEO.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Visa CEO caught, rubbing and tugging to a Boy Scout jamboree in Arkansas. It's stupid, but they're the moral superior because they've got all the freaking money.
They got all the power. Yep, they control the networks and the controversial points.
But anyways, before I get off on a tangent, Nick, what do you think?
Yeah.
And remember, never try to applaud when you're halfway through a wank.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely unusual it's weird to see payment companies like Visa and MasterCard have a problem with making money regardless of where it comes from, right? They never have a problem in other regards. So I don't know. It's got to be like something with the like wokeness or something like that, where they're like, we don't want to be a part of like the wokeness crowd or whatever, to placate to all the crazy people out there who give a shit. And and so we're gonna do this stuff for like things like OnlyFans and Patreon and stuff like that that you talked about, Pat, where they had pressured them to remove not safe for work material. So, and it's like, it's really quite crazy how big companies and politicians are taking the moral high ground on things. Like even like some states are putting in where like Pornhub, you have to put in your license, right? You have to give them your license to show that you are of age. And it's like, well, nobody's going to do that, right? Like, I mean, that's the people don't want to go to, even back then when we got to rent like pornos from a video store, you just be like shuffling in and going behind the curtain and then shuffling out like, I want to rent, and you wouldn't just grab that porno from the back there. You would also grab like, Homeward Bound or something to stick on top. So that way
we got porno, dogs, and popcorn.
Yeah. and Twizzlers to boot. Maybe the porno is also called Homeward Bound.
I was trying to figure out which one was the real Homeward Bound, so I got rid of both.
Is this the sequel?
Homeward Bound XXX.
Oh my God! I worked at a video store, and Nick's not wrong. I've seen that 1,000 times. It's
right.
Skittles, Homeward Bound, geriatric German grandma spanking Spanish man.
Right? Yeah. It's not just that. You're throwing in some other ones on top of it, just so you're not like looking weird.
For the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I got them a movie to keep them busy while I watch my movie.
Right. This is for mommy and daddy time later on. But I mean, like it's yeah, and it's these companies and states, like I said, politicians and companies trying to take the moral high ground, even though they don't give a shit. They're just trying to placate to the people that do. Right. And the people that do, I feel like are, maybe a larger majority, or maybe they have a high, not necessarily a majority of people, but they just, they scream the loudest or whatever that, whatever the saying is, so and that goes into different aspects of society, like, burning books or getting rid of books in libraries and things like that are, not safe for work or have certain themes in them and stuff like that. Right. I mean, it's like, how about we get our kids to read? Let's do that. Right. Instead of like taking books away. So it's kind of like the same concept of, sure, these video games are, incest related, but it's going to start with that. Right. And then it's going to become every adult themed game. And like Shane said, there are people that like that stuff. Like, and those games come out a shit ton on Steam. There is a crap ton. And when you look at those games, there are a lot of reviews. So clearly there's a lot of people, because you have to play a certain amount in order to leave a review. So there are a lot of people playing these titles, right? Whether they're playing them for 5 minutes or whatever, to each their own, right? So it's like there is an audience for this stuff. And it's just crazy that, the places like MasterCard, Visa, or whatever are just trying to be like high and mighty, right? In a sense, when they are the lowest of the low, all these big corporations and stuff. So,
yep, they steal a little bit for everybody's transaction multiple times, whether they realize it or not. They charge the vendor, they charge the retailer a fee for using the card. They charge a back-end service fee for the call. There's like three or four
for
fees.
The fee.
There's like 3 or 4 fees around the whole thing, right? The network charges a fee to traverse their system,
and then on the way back too, right?
Yeah, there's a network fee. There's a retailer transaction fee. There's a network access fee. There's all kinds of shit.
Every time you run your card now, there's almost always a note on those little machines stating, There's a 25-cent charge extra. There's a 30-cent charge, like a vending machine downstairs at work. I remember it was a dime last year, and now it's 25 cents if you use it. So.
Yeah, they're charging those companies anywhere from 10 to 35% per transaction. So if they spend $1, they're taking 10 cents to 35 cents of that dollar from the retailer, the person who owns the machine. So yeah, it's stupid. And unfortunately, because this is a capitalist country, which I have no problems with that, but we have runaway greed that's all this is that the company needs to make more money year over year, hand over fist. And the only way they can do that.
That's not sustainable.
Yeah, the only way they could do that without being and reinventing themselves is by just increasing their price. That's the easiest way to do anything, especially like a credit card company, because you got nowhere else to go, right? You're going to pay them, or you're going to pay them on the back end when you use a card that's lesser known that uses their network for services and transactions. So
yeah, that's why they're trying to get rid of cash. They're trying to get everything into a digital currency in some form or another, which is a giant pardon my language, giant scam.
Which is going to be even worse as we all move towards like a cryptocurrency. Our government's moving towards their own cryptocurrency while also dumping money into Bitcoin, and then they're going to charge you access fees to those networks. And they call it, they used
USA
to be,
bucks is coming.
The US government, the Bitcoin used to be the big thing touting about them is non-centralized money, right? Non-centralized money management.
Let's centralize it.
but what's going to happen is each individual country is just going to charge. They're going to control entryways into that, and what that means is that, hey, you want to buy Bitcoin, you have to take the dollar and buy Bitcoin, right? Well, we're gonna transactionalize that and make money.
And it's going to be like cash shops on games, right?
Yeah,
you're not going to be able to translate enough to buy anything. You have to do like the higher bundle package
a little bit,
right?
You want to buy?
You're probably not wrong.
You want to buy $100 worth of Bitcoin? You want to buy $100 worth of Bitcoin? Well, we sell it only in $75 increments.
Yeah. So
it's
you
like
have to buy
it's
two.
like that old joke, sandwich $5. I only accept 20s, no change.
Right.
It's exactly what's going to happen.
Yep. So I mean,
if you want that change, I charge you $5 to do the work.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So I mean, by allowing these companies to dictate your business or anybody else's business, you are letting them have you're basically telling them that they're the moral police.
Yep.
Now I understand things that are illegal, right? They cannot take a risk of accepting payment for something that's illegal, right? Like, even though states have their own laws on like marijuana and stuff like that, the major retailers and banks and all the stuff that deal with the federal government won't accept money from them because it's illegal in the federal government's eyes, but not the state's eyes, right? Those people are governed by the feds. That makes a little bit more sense that they can deny that. But stuff that's not illegal, like, how are you able to say, I'm not accepting that payment? Like, how can they do that? How is that legal? Right? Like, I remember back in the day when it was illegal for a place to refuse cash.
It's still illegal.
It is not illegal.
It is illegal in some states. They've basically done away with that in the federal level, from what I've always understood, because it used to be that way, and it's still that way in some places. Because you'll see videos and shit like, I'm trying to pay you. Well, credit card only. Well, I got fucking cash, so. I mean, you see.
Next thing you know, you won't have to have shoes or a shirt, and you'll still get service.
Yeah. Federal law does not.
What is this world coming to?
Right. Yeah. Federal law does not make it that they have to take cash. And I thought that was the stupidest thing ever, because our cash is actually labeled legal tender.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but businesses can refuse to take it because they're cashless only business or whatever, which I think is just helps these companies, because now they know they have a monopoly over this, right? Like Visa and MasterCard have the majority of the crap that's out there. Those guys need to be broken up. I'm sorry, but Visa, MasterCard need to be broken up.
That's right.
We need to mobile their ass.
Yeah, because Discover and American Express don't do so hot.
No,
right,
they're not the largest out there. Yeah,
they have a very small, really exorbitant fees, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they have comparable, but they have to charge more to be able to compete, right? I mean, because Visa and Discover and American Express I don't know this because I've not researched them at all, but they probably utilize MasterCard or Visa's networks, which means they have to pay Visa and MasterCard to traverse their network to get to the payment center on the back
believe
end.
I don't know about American Express, but I'm pretty sure Discover does.
All right.
Uses one of the two.
Right. So, so I mean, it is what it is in that aspect. It's, we know that Visa and MasterCard are the largest, then followed by probably American Express and Discover. So, but I don't know. Yeah, here it says Visa has $6.4 trillion of the U.S. purchase volume. MasterCard has 2.7. American Express is 1.1. Or these are trillion, excuse me, 6.4 trillion, 2.7 trillion, 1.1 trillion, and then Discover has 0.2 trillion. So not even. So, which is still a lot of money. So don't get me wrong, it's a lot of money. I would love to have $0.2 trillion.
I would love to.
They're not going out of business anytime soon.
Yeah, which gives Visa like 57% of the market, 57.5% of the market share, followed by MasterCard at 37.5%, and then the next one is American Express at 2% and Discover at 1%. So
yep. And what's going to happen is they're going to lay off people to increase that profit even.
Yeah. I'm surprised Visa or MasterCard hasn't tried to buy one.
Buy one what?
Like Discover or whatever.
That probably will push that. They probably wouldn't be allowed to in this country.
Right.
The FTC would probably step in and be like, no.
Well, for now they would.
I really
Eventually they won't.
That. I really don't. I think that shit's gonna. I think if they wanted to, they could get away with it.
I mean, right now there's 4 big players. If it went down to 3, I don't know how many it would take them to get down to before we'd have to. Our government would have to break them up in this country.
It just depends on who's paying who.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true. It's the good old boy system. Who scratches whose back? So I mean, but yeah, I mean, Steam is letting these payment processors dictate their business because they can't afford to have an interruption in them collecting money. I mean, that's just the plain truth about it. They can't afford to have Visa or MasterCard saying we won't allow you to make purchases on Steam. They can't afford it. I mean, they could afford it, but they don't want to. They don't want to lose that chunk of their group. Like, I think Nick, you and I had this conversation the other day about, if you were shopping at Costco, you have to use a Visa card, right? They don't accept MasterCard. And my cards are all MasterCards. Yeah, all my cards are MasterCard. Now, after doing some more digging, I found out that you can use any debit card you want. But if you're wanting to use the card as a credit type transaction, which a lot of times I will do because it protects you. When you run things as credit, the credit card companies are more apt to protect you than your own bank. Not to say your bank won't, but I've had trouble with banks with fraudulent transactions, whereas a credit card is just like, okay, fixed, your money's back the next business day. Banks are like, give us 2 weeks. And you're like, I just lost $1,000 out of my account. I need that back like yesterday, but banks are going to do a little bit more. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't help you. Right. Like I've had the bank refuse to actually help me on fraudulent transactions. So, so then you have to go to the retailer and hope the retailer will help you out, and they don't always help you out. So, but yeah, so I mean, Steam has no recourse really if they want to keep being able to process payments, especially if Visa decides to pull out, which as we saw was the majority of all transactions in this country, in the US. So I don't know. You guys got anything else you want on this one, because, Shane's about to start beating his meat before we finish this episode.
What do you mean about?
Oh, well, he's already started, so.
He's about finished.
He's about finished.
Again, what do you mean about?
He finished 5 minutes ago.
I've been finished before you even introduced the topic.
All right. Well, let us know what you think down in the comments. What do you think about Steam removing all this adult content from their platform? What do you think about them letting these payment processors dictate what they allow on their platform? I mean, because that's essentially what's happening. Payment processors are dictating what they're allowed upon their platform, even though the things that they're putting on their platform may not technically be illegal. So I don't think that should necessarily be allowed, but I don't make the rules and I don't pay Valve's bills. So, let us know what you think down in the comments. And if you've made it to the end of this video and you're not subscribed, why not? You've reached the end of us bitching about Steam and adult content. Come on now. Hit that subscribe button so Shane can finish. All right. We hope you enjoyed this episode and hope to catch you in the next one.
See you.